Hello and welcome to Cammy Greg Helping Hand. And it's your girl, Cammy Greg, behind the mic. Okay, let's dive right in. Today's topic is the roles we play. So, the first thing I want to do is define the word roles. So, role is the function assumed or part played by a person or thing in a particular situation. So roles can mean a person's job function and or a position on a team. Specifically today, I want to talk about relationship roles and how those show up. A relationship is defined as the state of being connected, okay? So that's by blood, marriage, two or more people, groups, and how we behave towards each other. In a relationship, one's role can be defined and it can be a crossover from an individual role and identified as a totally specific role with unrealistic and sometimes unknown expectations. So, what do you mean, Cammy Greg? So, Cammy Greg Helping Hands, you guys know we bring social wellness. Our whole goal is that social wellness therapy. We want to bring that to the forefront. I want us to think about how relationships are different, multiple, just aspects in someone's life. So you've got your friendships, you've got your sexual relationships, you've got romantic, and sexual and romantic are not the same, but we're not going to dwell there. We've got acquaintances, we've got coworkers, family. These are all different type of relationships, but multiple roles come within it. So how do these roles that I play, that we play in these relationships show up in the way one can communicate, how to respond to certain things, where I want to give my time, how do I want to connect or correlate or even associate oneself in these roles. Some roles are given, some are inherited, some are invited, some are unwarranted. Okay, so we're going to break that down in a minute. Okay, but I want us to continue to talk about the roles we play in every multifacet of our daily lives. I'm going to name a few, and there's a lot, but I'm going to name a few. Woman, man, mother, brother, husband, sister, wife, child, girlfriend, lover, my ex-husband, my child's father, daughter, son, employee, supervisor, professional, civilian. That this alone is a lot, okay? This is a lot. And there's so many more that can be added to this. I want your feedback. So I'm going to need you to go to our email and email your girl, Cammy Greg, CamiGregg40@gmail.com, and also link with us on Twitter at CAMI_Greg, GREGG. And also please go over to our Instagram at CamiE-Greg, GREGG. I need your questions. I need your feedback as it relates to what other roles do we consciously or unconsciously play, okay? So let's define play, okay? PLAY. So to play, one takes part in an activity for enjoyment. Okay, pause. Just soak that in right quick. So whether it's recreational, whether it is serious, or for practical purpose. So as we review our topics on roles we play and how those show up in relationships, this is very in how we're specifically showing what this looks like. I want to talk about a role that's really important to me. Okay, this is personal to me. The role that I have multiple roles I'm proud of, but another role that I am so proud of is being a sister. And I mean blood sister. We do have soul sister as ties, but I have 4 biological blood sisters, and they are my world. My sisters are my world, and y'all have to hear me smiling because this is a role that I absolutely love. Now, my role in this relationship is very different in my role as Cam. CamiE is the wife, the mother. CamiE is a student. That's me. But however, my sisters, they are not aware of the roles that I play outside of them. So when they see me in different roles, it may be different for them to communicate with me. In the same way that they're used to doing in the dynamic of our sisterhood. My sisters may not understand when they see me in another environment, i.e. my work environment, that their perception that they've developed within our sisterhood is different outside of what they're experiencing if I'm in another environment that they're not used to me being in. So their perception of some of my sisters is I'm their little sister. And then another thing that they may experience is I'm their big sister. I'm a role to them. So as we elaborate further on that, when we step into different roles, sometimes others around us can question us or even our character. Sometimes they may even be judgmental. Who is this person? Or you should do it this way, because they're looking at the role that they identify with you, not the role that you're actually in and the situation that you're in. So with that individual, when we go back and look at how we define play with different individuals, they're looking at you from the actual role of their expectations. So when it doesn't meet them, their perception is off, and they don't understand what they're experiencing. So going back to the top, when we talked about how some roles are given, some are inherited, some are invited, some are unwarranted. My sister role is inherited. That is something I enjoy, and I was born into that. So I have been culturally shaped and molded to fit into that dynamic within my sisterhood with my siblings. So these roles are just incredible. Now, my role of being a wife, that was invited. So that's something I took on. And I played multiple roles within that relationship. Okay? I'm a lover, a sexual partner, an accountant, I'm a housekeeper, I'm a chef, I'm an entertainer, and this can go on and on with these expectations. However, my sisters do not experience me in the role of the wife. Let's move on to how I'm going to tie this together, okay? I want you to look at another role. And the role I'm talking about is the role of one that we all can relate to, the role of the employee. All of us, somewhere, somehow, have been the role of the employee, somewhere or another. So when I look at the role of employee, that was a chosen role. I chose that specifically. I came on board to a particular agency. I signed all kinds of papers, a contract, or I gave verbal consent to uphold my duties within the position I was hired for. This granted me in return compensation. So the agency gives me my monetary compensation, and that in return for me, I get an increase in financial gain. So this is a very good role that we're talking about. Now, I'm talking about the role as an employee, but what about the role as a co-worker that falls under that same category? as the role as the coworker, did I really sign up for that one? No, not really. So as we break that down, the coworker is a role that is unwarranted. In the sense I didn't authorize it. It kind of just fell in my lap. Because the agency, they have policies set up, that I'm supposed to complete my job and position, but I'm also supposed to communicate properly by their expectations on a professional level. And there's expectations that is expected of me in this co-worker dynamic role from my other co-workers. And we also talked about professionalism. That's a different role too. So we can do this all day as we talk about multiple roles that we play in every aspect of our daily lives. So as we dive in to this topic in a more important way, I want to talk about how roles we play can alter or aid in how we communicate with others within relationships, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys this scenario, this happened, and I need you to stay with me. So a church member of mine that I hadn't talked to in a while requested that I assist them with a project that they were trying to pull off, okay? And this project was gonna bring community awareness to a particular cause, and this church member, they were passionate about this cause. So I feel my help coming on. So every time I feel my help coming on, I have to give that email out. Again, I need your questions. I need your feedback. Email us, CamiGreg, CamiGreg 40@gmail.com. Again, tweet us, Twitter. But I want to get back to this topic. So with different roles and how it can affect how one communicate, behave, display diverse characteristics, how would you respond to this situation? So I need your feedback. Go ahead and Go ahead and email us because I really want to hear your feedback. So I introduced several roles in this, but the ones I want to highlight is spiritual and professional. These are the roles, and now these roles are merging as I connect to this project with my church member, okay? So certain aspects of this role is definitely invited, but other aspects are unwarranted, okay? So, and the unwarranted roles are the spiritual roles that's involved. So as I'm moving forward in the project with my church member, this individual kept stating to me, they kept informing me that they respected my expertise. So I'm going to run down my resume and education just for a minute so we can get clarity on when they say they respect my expertise. I have a master's in human services, so I'm a human service professional. I'm a pre-licensed professional. I'm a certified anger management specialist. I'm a candidate for an advanced alcohol and drug counselor. I'm a certified life coach, and I've been in the human service field in the double digits. So when it comes to community awareness events, I've done a lot. I've seen so many before. And when this church member is talking about their passion, this is where I dived in. Now, with my list of expertise and education, this church member kept informing me how I was a woman of God and I should do this, and as a woman of God, I should do this. And I just thought to myself, this is so unwarranted and it's unrealistic when they came to me for my expertise. So I didn't understand that we began to not communicate properly. And I thought to myself, what's going on? This church member that came to me, they're passionate about this project. Why are we not communicating effectively? So now this is where we got to pull out our measurement tools, because a lot of times miscommunication can be identified within relationships by the expectation of the roles we desire from another individual. This is a great measurement tool. The name of this measurement tool is called What's on My Plate. It's an exercise tool that we're going to do together, and we're going to dive in to the scenario, a true situation that happened with me and my coworker. Okay, so when we do this exercise, we have to ask ourselves two questions. So first, the name of the exercise, what's on our plate? Then we go into the two questions. At the beginning of the exercise, you have to ask yourself, do I want to clean my plate or do I want to clear my plate? Okay, so this is a measurement tool we came up with to identify the roles we play in communication and what causes those barriers, and to find that common cordial ground is the ultimate goal. So I'm gonna say I want to clean my plate, okay? And I hope you guys are with me with this. So I want you guys to remember this exercise tool, what's on my plate, because we're gonna be using it again. But this is our first time introducing it. So step one, I picked cleaning my plate. So I want you to grab a piece of paper and we're gonna draw a plate, okay? And at the top, we're gonna put above the plate, I want to clean my plate. I'm sorry, I don't know if I said that correctly. I want to clean my plate on my blank sheet paper, and I'm gonna draw a plate. So I want to write down the individual's name I'm having a hard time communicating with. So that's my church member, Rove, okay? And I'm just going to call them Rove for the sake of time. And step three, I'm going to identify their role, okay? So Rove is my church member and their role in this situation. Rove, my church member. Step four, create a circle of the plate around the name of the individual, and you want to break it off into sections, okay? So that's their play. And we're going to draw a line and put my name at it and the role I am. So I'm CamiE, and my role is I'm assisting my church member with their project, okay? That's my whole role in this aspect. Now, we're going to pause because that alone should bring some clarity once those roles are identified. Because that barrier within a relationship, when it comes to communication, if the roles have not been identified or they're not known, that barrier with communication is going to exist. What is the particular subject and content that's trying to be brought across here? That's another thing we're identifying. We're trying to get to this community awareness event, this project, okay? And then we're going to move to step 6. So we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the individual, Rove, my church member. And so the pros, and it's from my eyes when we're communicating. And this is specifically to the communication, not them as their individual, but the role they are, okay? So one of the things that I'm saying is, the pro is this is a good project. Another pro is a good project that they came up with. And another pro is that Rove knows the community would appreciate them bringing awareness to this particular matter. Another thing that's a pro is Rove is very passionate about this project. A con that I'm seeing with my church member Rove is Rove's not communicating with me fully. And also Rove is giving me very sharp responses when I ask them any questions or if I try to give some of my ideas. Okay, now we're going to move on to step 7. Step 7 is me. That's when I look at my name and, at the bottom, remember I put my name and my role, and I got to do my pros and cons too. And that's my pros and cons on how I'm responding in this matter, how this communication look, and the role that I'm in, okay? So pros, I'm honored, they asked me to be part of this project. That alone is honor. Another pro is I know this will be great for the community, for us to pull this off and present this together. The cons is I'm not sure why my church member Rove asked me for help and my expertise, and I once again I don't feel my ideas are being welcome. So with our measurement tool, which is what we're doing, what's on our plate, I have to look at the plate. I'm looking and how I respond in my role. And I have to ask myself, am I aiding in the confusion and am I causing the miscommunication in this role? And look at the greater good in this situation, which is the greater good is this community project. So my plate gives me a visual of looking at myself. And I need you to hear this. Looking at myself, not the other person. Because how I show up and how I respond is a lot of the outside role that was unconsciously assigned to myself and then to the other person. So go back to my role I'm taking part in. I'm supposed to give my assistance to my church member. This is their project. So maybe their responses are sharp because I stepped outside my role of their expectations. Or I've created another role that they're not familiar with. Okay, so my church member only knows of my profession. Only knows of my profession. This is deep. Not what I do, how I do it, what it looks like, when I do it, and the full extent of my expertise within my field. Here's the kicker. None of that matters. None of that matters to them. Only to me. My church member is requesting my assistance within this project, not for me to adjust or make the project design from my role as a professional. They're looking for spiritual support as a church member. Yes, they know what field I work in, but they're looking for guidance and reassurance within the situation, not for me to complete this project how I want or perceive it should be done. Now that's deep, okay? Miscommunication is within both of us. We're both miscommunication. And the reason why we're miscommunicating is because neither of us are familiar with the roles that we're presenting. Hint the class of this miscommunication, okay? So we're clashing within our communication because we have these unrealistic expectations of these roles. Now we're going to bring this home. This relationship with my church member is multifaceted in that it's spiritual, cordial, and it's professionalism in other roles. But the highlighted role and the expected role is the professionalism from the spiritual aspect. The only role that this individual wants, they don't want the professional, they want the spiritual. So as long as I'm displaying the characteristics from the spiritual role that's expected, my church member is fine. They're able to communicate with me. Another measurement tool is sometimes, even if the role is unwarranted, one have to take part in the maintenance of that role. And it may be temporary, but you have to take part in the maintenance to get to the greater cause. So the community awareness project, that's our greatest cause. So I have to find maintenance in that role and mold it in that particular situation. Start communicating from a clean plate. Remember the two questions we asked earlier was clean my plate or clear my plate? And I wanted to clean it. With the response to clean is I've digested everything. I've digested everything on that plate. So I went and got some dish soap. I cleaned it. I let it dry. I put it in the cupboard and I'm bringing it out brand new. So even though I've eaten off that plate before, even though I'm familiar with it, this is now a new foundation we're creating, me and my church member. So now we're going to put the items together. And the first step is for me to ask my church member, what exactly do they want on this plate? Deep. Okay. Finally, within relationships, roles are ever changing. You have to be open for flexibility. And when we play these roles with other people, we have to be open for feedback. We have to be ready for self-growth, to be educated, bring awareness to oneself, and mostly give a helping hand from another person's eyes. Yes. So I'm going to sign off just with there. Again, this is your girl, CamiE Greg on the mic. Please follow us on Twitter at CamiE CamiE_Greg, CamiE Greg, and then also on Instagram at CamiE Greg, CamiGreg, GREGG. If you call me Cam or Cammy, I answer to both. Just as long as you call me. And also send us our email us at CamiGreg40@gmail.com. I will be reading your questions. I love feedback. Please check out our sister's organization, the Safety Net Youth Services. Go to our website. We accept donations. We specialize in assisting youth within crisis. Again, that website is www.thesafetynetyouthservices.net. And check out our blog. We just posted a great topic. You gotta go and see it. I'm not gonna tell you, but we're on WordPress, and it's CamiGreg, CamiGreg.wordpress.com. Y'all be safe out there, and remember, a helping hand is maybe the only hand someone get fed from.